Welcome to another live edition of Five on the Floor. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Before we get started, tonight's episode is brought to you specifically by our friends over at Cash App. You know that around New Year's Eve, everybody's getting together. Maybe you need to send money to split up for the festivities, things like that. Gift yourself some peace of mind this holiday season. Download Cash App. Scammers know the holidays are busy. Everyone's a target at this time. That's why Cash App builds in protection to help keep your money safe while checking off your shopping list, or if you're needing to transfer money. This is the way you need to do it at a holiday party. You know that you're going to be able to get the money safely transferred to the right person. Do it with Cash App. But here is what you need to do. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn additional cash. For real, y'all. No strings attached. Just download Cash App. Use our exclusive referral code, SECURE10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days. You'll get $10 dropped into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank's partners. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. The Miami Heat got a victory. Now, tonight's episode.
Uh-oh. Yeah. It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady, 7-4 plan, tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to mornings. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reason Sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reason Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Yep, I'm jamming to the intro music tonight. The Miami Heat come out blazing. We're going to talk about the game in a moment. Tonight's floor plan. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. You all know where to follow me. And if you don't, that's cool too. We also got Eternal with us, Eternal Bast. Check him out. He's on a bunch of our content, but you can definitely find him on our Discord, Off the Floor. I'm going to plug that now. That is $2.99 a month. It's the most Heat anywhere. We're talking Heat basketball 24/7. This is where we're talking lineup decisions, trades, transactions, fantasy sports, you name it. You can consolidate all of your social media, Miami Heat conversations into one place with the most passionate, informed fans you could find. $2.99 a month. The link is in the description of this episode here. Check out Off the Floor. I'm not going to keep saying it, y'all. Well, I am going to keep saying it, but you got to get in now with us. It's off the chain on a 3-game winning streak. I'm feeling good. The Heat scored the most points they have all season, 147. That is what now? At least 7, maybe 8 games where they've scored 140 or more this year. That's insane. We're going to dive into the player of the night. We're going to get to the play of the night. We're going to talk Joker. There's lots of stuff to talk about in a lot of different ways. But Eternal, your initial thoughts on the Heat getting another robust offensive performance, and they're in a situation where a 3-game winning streak. I know that Joker didn't play in the second half. It was kind of like a tie ball game. They came out, blitzed him in the third. They're now starting to build back up. And I think this is where fans start to they don't know where to go with this, because first there's the losing streak and they're losing 9 out of 11. Then all of a sudden they're in a situation where they've won 3 straight to end 2025. How are we supposed to feel on a night that they beat the Denver Nuggets and score 147 points?
Well, we talked about this on our Off the Floor Discord. Make sure you guys check that out. But, that Atlanta game and the Pacers game kind of being the games to get back right? Like, in sports, you're going to have teams that struggle, and you sometimes need those opponents, those kind of tinker games where you get yourself back into the flow of things. Obviously, Miami went on an 8-game losing streak, and then followed it up with a 2-game losing streak after winning the game. And that didn't look like the team that we saw to enter the season, and how they were responding to punches teams were throwing at them during the game. Even this game, even before Joker got hurt, right? Like, they came out hot, and
They did.
Denver came, and then Miami. So it was like it was a punching heavyweight match. And just unfortunately, Joker got hurt. But to back you up, this was the 7th time Miami this season has scored 140 points, which in their whole history of the franchise before this season, they've done that 7 times. So they've already matched that. This being, I believe they tied the highest they've ever scored.
Yeah, you're right.
This is the highest. This
Yep.
is the highest they've scored this season at 147. The second would be 146 that they scored against the Memphis Grizzlies earlier this season. But man, if you needed anything as a fan to be excited about, is that not only are they playing similar to how they played, but you're getting impact from your first round picks. Think about how things have changed over the years with this franchise, with this team, where they were the undrafted story. If you are looking to make a name for yourself in the league, you go to the Miami Heat and you will find a shot, with the Caleb Martin. Max
Now they
Strus.
only got one of those guys, Drew
right?
Smith.
And so now it's all about getting production out of their first round picks. And, Khalil didn't even play in the 4th, had 19 and 9. Jaime had his career high in assists. I'm sure we're going to get to the rest of everybody, but just the overarching thing is that Miami got themselves back on track, and they beat a winning team, albeit a winning team that's dealing with some injuries. But you take the wins, how you get them.
We're going to get to the player of the night. And it was really a collective effort from a lot of different guys. Obviously, Jaime, Norm, Nico need the flowers up front. We'll get to that. Eternal, I want to give you the opportunity because we talked pre-show just a little bit about this.
Mm-hmm.
You do want to make sure that you hold everyone in this ethosphere accountable for certain things. And I know that I recently, when they lost 9 of 11, was kind of out on this group. And I started to get pretty pessimistic. Is there anything that you want to tell the viewers and the listeners maybe about the highs and lows of a season? Did I overreact? Let's just make sure that you get this platform to keep people accountable.
So listen, it's me and you right now. All right. I get it. Whatever you're dealing with in life, sports is very, very sacred to you. It means something to you. It's something you hold on to. It's your favorite team, your favorite player, whatever the case may be. The people that you are cheering for, the team that you're cheering for, are humans. And humans are going to have struggles. They are going to have their ups. They're going to have their downs, just like you do. So the same patience that you want someone to have for you, with you, have the same patience with these humans that are entertaining you. Because you have seen Jaime Jaquez have a phenomenal rookie season and then struggled after growing injury in that same season. And then followed that up with a sophomore season that was not up to whatever expectations that you may have had. But then you had Spo right after the season talk about the injuries that Jaime dealt with during the season. And though you have built up a culture of not blaming struggles on injuries, even with Bam.
Yeah.
Who said
it could be a reason.
It could be a reason when you see guys not physically move or respond the same way that they were responding, 10 times out of 10 is probably something physical going on. And the thing that comes with that is you can then have your physical limitations, your injuries then start to affect you mentally, especially because this is something like, yes, you can be affected at work, whatever you do, right? Respect to whatever you do. It's different when you got millions of people either adding you online, talking shit to you in the arena. Like, it's a bunch of
and you're
shit.
getting paid where people don't have compassion for you.
Right,
They
no,
figure
like,
you're a millionaire. And that's why probably there would be some people in the comments, which I haven't even opened those yet, that are going to roll their eyes about like having patience with these guys. But I think your overall point, like, Haka has had a bad sophomore year,
yeah.
and now he's in the 6th man of the year candidate. Like,
and even with Kalel, like, he had a really good rookie season, had his struggles, had a horrible first round, like his first playoff series, had a
moment,
just terrible, and then didn't come out the way you wanted to in summer league. Now there's a difference from like having expectations and holding guys accountable when they're struggling, right? Like, hey, you didn't give the max amount of effort and things like that, whatever, right? But there's still like being reasonable when you're talking about not only human beings, but these are young guys.
Yeah.
And like, you got to have reasonable expectations, reasonable, like, perspective on things. And so I bring that all around to another example of that is Niko Jovic. Got the contract. Everybody's like, oh, okay, cool. You got to play up to that, which is fair. I'm not saying you got to coddle these guys. Just be reasonable. He was playing terrible, playing fucking horrible, which is fair. You can comment on that, right? But everybody was ready. Yeah. You were ready to throw him out. And now there's 3 straight games of building off of the previous game.
Confidence is key. You're seeing it with Nico. Jaime, you mentioned, is having a bounce back year. We'll talk about both of them, plus Norm on the other side. Here's the Insurance by Lynette Player of the Night.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So Jaime, we need to just immediately reference as somebody who's being hyper efficient. 8 of 11, 11 assists, no turnovers. That's a career high. No turnovers with 11 assists is insane. You mentioned Nico. He's stacking good days. He's stacking good games. The confidence is back. You're seeing him. I think just his ability to want to attack the basket. It's just confidence is key with that kid. And so I hope that they continue to cultivate that with him. Norm, though, that's where we'll finish up. And I guess you can dive in here. He continues to be the steady force for this group. 9 of 16 from the field, 25 points, led them in scoring. Is still kind of he's the vet of the group along with Bam. And so they're taking their cues from Norm and Bam. Frankly, Bam had a double-double tonight, adding another one to his total. But your thoughts on Norm Powell's continued play? All-star voting came out, and he's not going to get it in by the votes. But if he can get on a nice little win streak here, he has a chance to impact the coach's decisions on where he will be. He played like an all-star tonight. Your thoughts on Norm Powell?
Not only did he play like an all-star, Norm had, I think, 11 or 12 points in the first quarter. Came out the gate hot. And then in the third quarter, which they also tied Heat record most points in the third quarter, 47 points. In that third quarter, they came out hot, which kudos to them for not allowing especially since Denver was without Jokic, not pulling their. Now, we'll say there was some all-star game level defense going on in the third quarter between both teams, but Miami came out hot as shit. And Norm was definitely the spearhead of that. You just have. I think this game was the first game in a while Norm didn't look like he was like hampered. Like, I think the previous games he kind of scored in spite of. This game, it looked like Norm was just himself this game. And I don't know how the hell he pulled it off by not resting, right? Because I've been probably the main advocate of saying Norm needs to rest and kind of get his body right.
Off.
Yeah, but tip your hat to dude for going out and just, and doing it. But I also want to give love to Andrew Wiggins as well, 19 points. And he's been rebounding. He hasn't really been known for a really good rebounder. But I will say this season, he has done his work on the boards and have to give credit to him for that.
He's averaging almost 22 a game in their 3-game win streak. So, I mean, he's been pivotal.
Oh, yeah. And I think the main thing, especially for these past 3 games, is the level of competitiveness they've been playing at.
They've ramped it up.
Yeah, they've definitely ramped it up. And you can tell, like, it looks like how they look prior to, things falling apart. Like, they're diving on the floor for loose ball. They out-rebounded Denver. They also out-rebounded the Pacers. They out-rebounded Atlanta as well. So they not only won the rebounding battle, but, I mean, before they start turning the ball over themselves, they were just mucking things up for Denver. And Denver still had a high shooting percentage. They just were getting it in on the defensive end. So those are the things that you really like to see for Miami, especially because, Greg, they're about to go on a very, very, very tough road trip in January. January is just nothing but travel for them.
Yeah, it is. They have a couple home games early. I think that Minnesota is at home, and we'll talk about the schedule because we're going to flip to the new year, and so that brings the January schedule, which is not kind to them as it progresses, for sure. Mm-hmm. One thing I wanted to mention about Denver, I saw that early in this game that they tried to zone up a few times. Then they switched back to man. There's a lot of different looks early on. They were trying to kind of stifle what Miami was doing. Mm-hmm. Denver only had 10 turnovers, but a lot of that, frankly, happened early. The Heat were turning Denver over and getting out on the break and getting easy buckets. And that's just the catalyst for everything they do going well. The guys get confidence. They see the ball go in the basket. Those are the things that we need to, obviously shout out. And then 22 3-pointers. You're shooting 48% from 3. These are the games. There's been a few lately where they shot that well and they still lost.
Yeah.
9 out of 11. So to start to turn those around, get these high scoring games back, seeing it with a balanced effort. I mean, I know people are going to say it's just 3 games, and it is just 3 games, but this is how you climb back out of a funk and turn a season around. Let's get to the play of the night. We'll talk about some injury stuff there, and then Eternal can dive in with some additional perspective. But shout out to Mobile C Arm and Staffing. Let's get to that segment.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-Ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
So we're going to use this to address 2 injuries. One is the less serious of the 2, and that's that Pele Larson, unfortunately, and I think it was the same ankle, but keep me honest, chat or Eternal. He sprained his ankle again. He stepped on a guy's foot running down the floor. He immediately went to the locker room. They're probably not going to know how that feels till tomorrow morning when it's swelled up. hopefully they get ice on it quick or whatever the hell they need to do. It just, for me, with Pelle Larsson, they're so good with him in the lineup. I was surprised that they went with him out of the starting lineup tonight. I'm hoping eventually that Larsson moves in for Wiggins, although Wiggins has played so well recently that I don't see that happening. But I just think Larsson's ready for that. It's unfortunate. He sprains his ankle again. Who knows what that will be? But obviously the next man up mentality is there. They didn't go with Yakachonis with Bam back tonight, so they tried to keep a bigger lineup out there. But now if they are going to be down Pelle Larsson, we'll see who gets another chance. If it's just more minutes for some of the existing guys, if they go younger with a guard like Yakachonis, or if Simone Fontecchio gets another shot. The other one is Joker. We don't know what's that. That injury could be anything from a simple, and I'm totally speculating, like a hyperextension that doesn't, warrant cause for major concern, to a popping of something, in the back of the knee that we just don't want to even talk about. So who knows? All I want to say is that injuries in sports suck. If I had 3 wishes, and I'm dead ass serious, if I had 3 wishes and I could choose anything, like even world peace would be on the list, and that might make the list of my 3. One of them would be no injuries in sports. I hope Joker's okay. Eternal, your thoughts on Larsson going down from the Heat's perspective? Joker, obviously, let's wait before we make more definitive claims to what that means for him. He's in the MVP running, no doubt. The guy's averaging, he is leading the league in rebounds and assists. Who the hell does stuff like that?
At the 5. As a center.
At the 5. He's incredible. Like I think he's going to go down as one of maybe the top 6-7 players of all time. Right. I think he has that chance. So when you see a great guy go down like that, you don't want him to be hurt.
All right.
Larsson will be out. Your thoughts on those injuries, and then any plays that we should reference? I feel like there was a lot of highlights tonight. Kashad got back with another dunk, so shout out to him. But any plays you want to reference, that'll kind of end us on a more high note than the injuries. But hopefully Joker and Pelle get well soon.
You especially hope that Pelle, obviously Joker, one of the best players in the league, the best player in the league, hands down. But I think especially the things that Pelle does for them offensively and defensively, you really hope that they just were super cautious and like he will be ready to play in Detroit as they get prepared for this road trip, or at least he's not out longer than a game, or 2. Outside of that, I would say the play of the night was probably the defensive stop that they got on the other end in the fast break. They were able to come down, defense recovered, but it's top of the key pass from Nico to Jaime at the nail with the lob to Kaleo.
Oh, that was.
If there was anything to encapsulate, like, your quote unquote future or whatever, like 3 of your last 4 first-round picks, I think accounted for almost 60 points tonight. So that I think that's super relevant. I have a quote from Spo. He says, "The slower we play, the more average we become, regardless of what the team scout us or try to prepare for. It's got to feel different when you play against it. It requires mental, physical energy and commitment every single night, which we're fully capable of." And I think it's a great point. You just felt like during that losing streak, they weren't playing the same way that they were prior to, as far as the level of commitment to competing. And
they got to be fiery every night. Yeah. They don't got the talent to play any other way. And I'll let you get in any final thoughts as well. Shout out to our sponsors, Mobile C Arm and Staffing, A Aggressive Insurance. That's insurancebyLynette.com. Use Secure10. That's our code on Cash App. Check out 5 on the Floor's Discord, Off the Floor. I'm plugging everything. Prize Picks, use the code 5 to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Check out all the writing being done on Sports Illustrated. The Miami Heat are 16-5 now when they win the points points off turnover battle. They did again tonight. That's 21 of the what have they played? 32 or 33 games, maybe more than that, but somewhere around there. So I guess my big takeaway, and Eternal, I'll let you close. My big takeaway is that they need to try to win that battle as often as possible, because 16-5 is the type of winning percentage. And those have been the games where it's not that, oh gosh, they become the best defense in the world, although there's aspects of it that the turnovers are great for looking good on defense, right? But this is directly correlated to also how they play on offense. So points off turnovers, creating those, forcing those turnovers becomes key again tonight. They moved to 16-5 on the year when they win that battle. That is the key stat I watch every single night. I implore every fan to do the same, and that will give you an idea if the Heat are going to win or lose most nights. Eternal, your final thoughts.
Great point. Great point. The thing that you can definitely measure is the hustle. You can't control whether you're going to make threes every night, right? But can you win the turnover battle? And I'm glad we're ended it on this note, because they, as Spo says, the double big lineup, that's important. What they both did, there will be possessions. It doesn't look aesthetically great. That's okay in the modern day spacing and all that. But what they did was 5 offensive rebounds for Khalil and 3 for Bam. That's what it has to be, beat up teams. And they had 15 offensive rebounds tonight as a team, 5 for Khalil again and 3 for Bam. Neither of them played in the fourth quarter.
That's the recipe. Beat up teams. And the Heat don't get to do that often. They play a lot of small ball. Spo went big, pivoted differently than what most people thought. And let's hope that they continue to build on it. We appreciate everyone's support, watching the show all throughout the years. This is our last show of 2025. We will have you covered for the first game of the new year, New Year's Day. I think they play Detroit.
They play Detroit.
So that'll be a fun one. We'll have you covered for that. Thank you. Shout out to everyone watching live on YouTube, and to all our podcast listeners who follow up after.
Greg, I have a question for you before we get out of here.
Let's do it.
Besides a trade, did they or did they not find the front court mate for Bam Adebayo?
It looks like they might have. I think, this is what I'll say. Bam and Ware are still conditionally successful, and that's not good enough. But every game that you see like tonight, and people, want Bam to be a 20-12 guy. If he can be a double-double guy, as Khalil does what he does, I just think that they're building something where the archetype, the idea of it absolutely fits, and it's just about execution. They're doing that more and more. So I'm with you. I think that it can be a front court pairing that works, provided you have other guys on the floor that fit. I think that they have at least enough young players to surround those two to continue to try it. So I'm glad that Spo went that direction and didn't pivot small tonight. So yes, they might have found we always used to say they're 4 next to Bam, but it's actually now Bam, I guess. Shout out to Sean Rochester. We're talking positions. That means the episode should end. Bam is at the 4 and Khalil's at the 5, right? Peace out. Happy New Year. Everyone be safe out there.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Make good decisions on New Year's Eve. It is amateur hour out in the world on New Year's Eve, so please be careful. Shout out to all of our sponsors again, and go Heat. They get a victory 3 in a row. Peace out.